Okey doke. Here you go.
Yeah, there's a fatal one.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Last night, like 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
going through 15A, got passed by a kind of box truck. Driving around, you know what I'm saying? Killer time, like 40 miles an hour, I seen him coming up behind me, I'm like, let's see what happens here. Goes right out, okay. Hope you don't crash. You know?
You have my paper?
Yep, wow.
I'm gonna try to start advertising.
I'm in the Black Owl, I mean, I don't think any of it, but,
Then what if you turn the lights on?
yeah.
Yes. Most of those are Scots.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Somehow the governor, of course, pushes it on them, which, you know. Stop by with that, and I'll look it up on the computer and find you. That'll work, I'll do that.
That makes it nice, you have everything on an app,
What
huh?
are you doing, putting in a special request for his cane?
Well, we did that already. But realistically, we're getting down to the last couple weeks of the recertification for pistol permits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying that, you know, we'll make sure that, you know, try to figure out a way to get the word out to people that will help them also get their research done
Yeah.
and verify that they are actually in the
Let's see,
system.
how many people remember they gotta do it?
I know.
Anyone that watches the news should see it, it's on there all the time.
We've had a few people come into the office.
Send them over to see us.
Try to
Make
figure out.
sure they get squared
I
away.
did my online, it's not that hard, it's just.
Okay, now being 7 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand, join me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. First thing on the docket this evening are the minutes. We have department head minutes, meeting minutes for December 13th, 2017, and the regular meeting for December 19th, 2017. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Second, trustee Zay. Any discussion, corrections? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. No privilege of the floor this evening, so we'll move right on to mayor's comments. Just a heads up, on February 6th, 6 to 7 at Genesee River Restaurant and Reception Center in Mount Morris, there will be a presentation on the downtown market analysis study that was put on or done by the county for 4 villages here in the county, and there will be breakout sessions afterwards. So the thing is actually projected to go to about 9 o'clock. And also just a reminder that I'll be gone February 11th to the 13th to Albany for an ICON Winter Legislative Conference, as well as to talk with our representatives, Senator Young and Assemblyman Arrigo. Sorry to say no, Jay. No to no, Jay, huh? Graveyard service? Okay. Skip the levity here, move on to something serious. And if you've got anything that you want for the contract discussion, I'd like to have it by the end of the month for both the CSEA and the DPOA contract negotiations. I still haven't got any set time, but sooner we can put it all together. And if anybody has a particular interest on sitting on one or the other or both, let me know. And with that, we'll go to committee reports. Legislative, anything to update on the action list, Megan? Okay. And how we doing with codification?
We have a meeting tomorrow at 1 to get back at it.
Okay.
I don't know, because it was just uploaded last week, so I don't know if anyone's had time to start looking at it. But as you're reviewing, if you have any questions or want anything changed or anything like that, just let me know.
And Scott, did you see that letter from John Vogel concerning the water?
No, I didn't.
Okay. And get Megan here, make copies for you and Robin. Well, in fact, the whole board. Just make them for the whole board. Pardon?
I didn't see it.
Oh, it's just some recommendations he had for the water system local law.
Oh, okay.
Minor stuff, really. Just shouldn't be difficult to take care of. And let's see what else we got. Public safety, Trustee Nagel.
Well, we'll start out with code enforcement, but I'm gonna hold off on that for a minute, so I won't start off on that. So we'll go right to the fire department.
Just let me interrupt for a second. Is there a planning board meeting tonight? Should be, but I don't know if there is, if they had anything to go over.
I didn't see anyone down there.
Okay.
You guys got anything to
Thank you.
report on the fire department?
Nothing's changed in my report unless you want me to reread it over again. So everything's about the same. Started the year,
Same people here that were here.
same, nothing's changed, and the new year started, and we've been running around already.
An ambulance and skipping Larry, I guess. Larry's not here tonight, so we don't really.
We do have one thing out of the fire department, that's the pumper.
Pump the pumper.
Almost looked right over that.
I didn't slip over it, I just kinda hesitated every minute.
I didn't know if you wanted me to mention it. I didn't know if I would say the same way.
Greg didn't say anything, I said, well.
I know the salesman is anxious to find out.
Uh,
I will let you know, I did receive an email from E1, the salesman.
mhm.
I did reply to that, telling him that, that there were many things in his bid that were missing or were not the same, and that we recommended that the board reject his bid. And I told him it was unanimous, and I have not heard back from him, and that's been 2 weeks, so I guess.
Had his chance.
Yep, well, the thing is, he never responded to me for 4 weeks after the bid opening anyways,
Uh,
and stuff, so. He said he was out sick for a couple weeks, or a week, so. I think he knew anyways.
Didn't seem to be interested.
No, I think he just threw it together in the last moment just to get it in. But,
Well, as I mentioned previously, that Megan and I had sat down and looked over some of the numbers. Megan, you got the sheet there, you want to just go over the thoughts that we had on that? Of course, it's, just the thoughts, certainly approach it from other directions.
We like thoughts.
This will at least start the conversation anyways. The numbers, when we were working with the numbers, we did not take into account the $4,800 that we would be able to subtract from these if we pay for the chassis in advance. And when we were working the numbers, we were anticipating paying for the whole thing in this budget. Of course, it's an option for everybody if we wanted to do the chassis now, budget the rest later or whatever. But this is what we came up with if we want to do it all in this year's budget. Is we were going to do a few budget modifications. We were going to start by taking $10,000 from unallocated insurance. From government support, we were going to take $7,600. Contingency, $44,000. Snow removal, $10,000. Gas, $20,000. And retirement, $6,000. And that's what we could find in the budget, being only halfway, that we were confident we could do without. That totaled $97,600. And then the remaining of the funds, what we discussed, is taking $306,000 from unallocated fund balance. And what that would do when the board, so we're not talking about touching reserves. And when the board had set up the reserve account, the goal was to have 30% of the budget in unallocated fund balance. So we don't touch that amount of money, obviously unless of emergency. These are the thoughts behind it. The options that you were working with was either doing 20% or 30%. So we went with the higher amount, 30%. So if we took the 306 from the unallocated fund balance, that would leave us with 20% of the budget amount left versus the 30%. And then we would just have to be adamant that whatever fell back at the end of the year, whatever else wasn't spent from the budget, that went towards working us back to the 30%. So that's what we came up with. These are just my notes, but I'm happy to pass it around.
So the
guys wanna get a
97.6
visual?
you were taking out of the 2018, 2019 budget. Not in this one that
The
we're in
one that we're
now.
in right now,
You were able to find that in this one.
yes.
So then what would we be able to find in next year's budget?
So, or, that's the other option, is we could work at budgeting, attempting to budget that in, you know, rework the numbers for next year's budget. The chassis is, $126,100. So the 97.6 plus, you know, we would have to take, you know, the remaining for that. So that gets us somewhat close if we wanted to do that and pay for that. Because I'm not sure when the chassis would get delivered to, is it South Dakota?
Hold on, yeah,
If that would be in this budget year.
I'm not really sure, I could ask.
Because in order to get the discount, we would have to pay for it when it was delivered in South Dakota.
Which you said was $4,800 discount?
Yes. And then the rest of it is 292,185.
And that has to be paid by the time we take possession of it.
Which would probably be, end of January, beginning of.
Another year.
A year, it'd be a year, 360 days.
You said there was a 15-month delivery.
They would move it back till, he said March or April, so if that was.
That'd be in the next budget year.
Because I thought if it was a 15-month delivery time and we ordered it in March, we technically then the delivery wouldn't be till June of 2019, which would give us another budget year to, it would give us 2 budget years to take money from rather than just trying to figure it out now. And then you look at a June delivery date, but it would get it just money-wise, it just is a whole lot different because it gives you the 2 budgets plus whatever you can take out of this budget. Because you get next year's budget to put money away, and then even as you're working 2019, you take delivery after what, June 1st, then that would give that year's budget as well. And just a thought process. And we don't want to push it back too far, but we're also have to make sure that your dollars are there to pay for what we're trying to get done without banding and bonding something for 10 years and strapping it back onto a debt calendar.
And I didn't mention, we had also included in those numbers was the 16,400 from the fire truck reserve as well. And then that totaled the balance.
Because we're almost February now. You're almost a month and a half away from saying if we do it then I don't know. It's just my thought process is,
But that will add more money to that reserve as well. That'll be 2 more years of calculations to put money towards that.
And we keep us at that 30%.
if we did that and if you were able to pull 97,000, you're still able to keep your reserve at 30% where the budget, or our goal was. Again, I'm not against fire truck at all. I mean, I just want to make sure that we can get the money right without.
But right now, we have to decide whether or not we want to get the thing and, make a commitment, or the bid goes out the window, right? Technically.
How long is the bid good for?
That bid was only good for 30 days, he gave us another 30 days.
Yeah.
So,
So really, this tonight's probably the night we need to make a decision whether we want to get it. How we pay for it is still, we got a little time on that. But we got the money if we need it, so it's.
Well, then I would definitely want to make sure that the 2019 budget would reflect some money out of there to go back in to push the reserves back to where it's supposed to be. I mean,
How soon would the chassis be?
That I'm not real,
Maybe looking in before June?
yeah, I think so. I'm not real sure because I can call them and find out.
How much money of the ambulance split money is still there that's the fire department's? Was
I
that
would
in
say
there?
14,000.
Is that what that,
Yeah, we was touching that, so that's.
that's what you're talking about?
16,000.
16,000.
Yep, 404.
Is that included in the 97.6?
No, that's, no, the 97.6 is just amounts out of the budget.
So then you add another 16,000, that's gonna bring us up to 113 at least, it gets us closer to that 126 mark
Right.
for the chassis. We can utilize that money, correct? Because that's fire department money.
Yeah, puts you right at 114 even, pretty much.
Now you're only 12,100 away from at least paying the chassis part.
Yeah, I don't think that'll, if we push that out till April, I don't think the chassis will be coming before June. I'm not sure, but I'm not positive on that, so.
If we get a feel for that, that'd be helpful.
I could-
I would still go ahead and make a decision tonight, but that gives us a little bit to play with. Like to save every buck we can on it.
No, yeah, without a doubt, I was just looking at budget years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that extra.
No,
budget year.
that's not a bad way to think about it
It just
either.
doesn't make a difference, don't get it.
I like that
You
idea.
gotta
Over
get a
over the
decision
years,
one
we've
way or
never
the other.
planned,
Yeah.
because we've never had the money to plan.
No, it's always been paycheck to paycheck.
So then if you take the 4831 out of that also, it brings it down to 7,266. That would be remaining to pay for the chassis.
You'll probably find that somewhere.
Yeah. Sounds like I already took it all tonight.
We need a motion, what do we need to do?
Well, first thing is, do we want to buy a truck?
I'll make the
I think
motion.
it's somewhere where I have to buy it, I mean.
I think we
it's-
need to buy a truck.
Make a motion, we move forward with the purchase of the fire truck.
Okay, I have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to purchase the fire truck that we
I'll
have the
second.
bid on. We have a second from trustee Nagel. Any further discussion? Okay, trustee Humphrey? This is the vote.
Yeah. Aye.
What-
Just as long as we can postpone it or push it back as far as we can to get into that second budget year.
Okay. So that's an aye?
Aye. Both of them.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
All right,
Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. So,
Well, thank
got
you.
your truck?
Yeah, I'll contact Jim and see what he can do. So
Yeah.
On both the well, I'll ask for an expected delivery date on the chassis and tell for back they can do that.
Good working with us,
Yeah.
so.
I'm not, actually, to tell you, to get the truck in January with a new truck like that, as big and heavy as it's gonna be, it's probably not the best time for us to get that truck anyway,
Yeah.
with the
You
weather.
gotta drive it all the way back
June would
from,
be a perfect time to drive
but,
it.
from- I can say Minnesota is, where it's being made, or Wisconsin?
Yeah. What's that?
Is it Wisconsin or Minnesota you gotta pick it up from?
It goes out to, South Dakota.
South Dakota, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Well, they drive it back to Buffalo, so,
Yeah, okay.
okay?
All right.
Not back to Bean Mac though, right?
No. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks.
You know, you can still come to meetings now.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Just continue on there, Mike.
Sure, them guys. Save some for Scott.
You need to get that rock salt, right?
Larry's not here, and, I think the only thing Larry just introduced himself the other night here when he's here. How you say his last name?
Brockington.
Brockington, Larry, he's a new,
Head man in charge.
Director.
man in charge, I guess.
Are we up to date on the reports from them, or, we got a
No.
whole bunch of them
He said
through?
that he was waiting for the county.
County was waiting for the county, and he let us know that the other night, because I asked the same question you just did.
The last report came from Scott.
That was a bunch of them.
And he did Well, and then the December one also.
Yeah.
He's doing that one. He did provide a report, but it was missing some of the numbers, so as soon as he has those from the county, he'll get them to us.
Another than that, he let us know it's his 50th year, the anniversary of the start of the ambulance corps in Hansville, New York is this year, so they're gonna try to set something up for that. And other than that, that's all he had that I wrote down here anyway, and so I'm gonna combine code enforcement with chief of police, I guess, and go from there.
Well, code enforcement, all the time ahead, I don't think Tammy's mentioned anything to me that's overly new, so I don't think anything's changed since last week.
Just the barn burn.
Just the barn's gonna get torn down at some point.
Barn on Clara Barton Street will be torn down.
And just to remind everybody, odd even parking is in effect, and we've left out a few dozen warning notices, and I think so far 3 folks have been a little bit lax, so they got their $5 parking tickets, and they've been in to pay them. Lexipol put out a final request on the other departments that want to get involved with it, and I get a rep in here, and as of today, Mount Morris, Avalon, and Geneseo all said they wanted to sit down and talk to him as well, so. And with that, the non-day chief, who also works for SUNY Alfred, and SUNY Alfred was the first Lexipol customer in New York State, and they've been really happy with them, and had them now like 4 years. So we'll see if I can get the guy in here at the end of the month, first part of February, and nail down exactly what the details are, and see if we can't get some break on the price, and know exactly what we're going into there. Arraignments. The update on that, I don't know if we've mentioned it before, if anybody's heard rumors, but basically the state legislature and the governor came to the conclusion that people aren't represented well enough in court on their initial arraignment, their first appearance in court. So they've come to the conclusion that there must be a defense attorney there to represent everybody. So that's going to require the public defender's office here in the county to ante up bodies, just like the district attorney's office does. Once a month, the district attorney's office sends an ADA into the court to represent the people. Now they've felt that's an unfair advantage to the state, so they want the defendants to have representation on their first appearance. So in order to accomplish that, they've basically come to the conclusion that each county has to have a central court, that the arraignments are going to be done. I get there's kind of 2 options. One is, whenever there's an arraignment, there has to be a defense counsel there, a defense attorney there to represent the people. So in the middle of the night, if we're going to do an arraignment on a non-court moment, then we have to transport this person one way or the other to Geneseo. And they're going to do 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. arraignments. The local judges are all going to get opportunities to circulate through this court, and they're going to get $250 a session to preside in Geneseo over these local arraignments. There will be a list of arraignments that that court will take. For example, domestic violence, where maybe no order of protection is needed, you'll be able to go there and get that arraignment. Warrants where people have not appeared in court before. That's, if they didn't appear in court before, then there's no chance they're probably going to appear again if you give them another ticket, so therefore they would see those. Felonies, they must do arraignments on. They would be there at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. to do those. The sheriff's office will hold folks that fall within those categories for us, and so basically we transport them there, they'll keep them in temporary detention, and then take them in for the arraignment for us. We do our fingerprints, photographs, we provide all the paperwork nice neatly all together like we do now, transport the body and the paperwork there, and the jail staff will take them in for their arraignments, and then either they'll get released, they'll go to jail, they'll pay their bail, what have you, just like they would here. The difficulty is those times in the course of a year where whatever you want an arraignment on that doesn't meet that criteria, then we have to hold them ourselves until that 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. time. So you get the person who does, let's say they disorderly conduct, 3 disorderly conducts in a week. Now, a discount here, a discount there, you'd write your ticket, give them their criminal summons, or what have you, and they come to court in a week or 2. But this is maybe a person who just doesn't accept and is just belligerent and rude and doesn't get it, and the neighbors have had enough, and the police have had enough, and this person needs to get arraigned. That probably won't make the level for the jail to hold them for us. So then we have to decide if we're gonna keep them, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, we're gonna have to hold them for 5 hours until 7 o'clock and take them over there ourselves. We, a long time ago, due to the volume of business we have, we a long time ago cut back on our discretion on arraignments. For example, e-felonies is a low-level felony that you can't issue an appearance ticket on. We've been issuing appearance tickets on e-felonies forever. Aggravated unlicensed operator, some reason the state has taken away your driver's license. A lot of departments do automatic arraignments on those. We haven't done them, and we're in the teens as far as 15 years or more probably we haven't done them, because we've just got too much stuff to do. We can't be bogged down with that. So in some ways, it's not going to hurt us as much as some other departments that have gotten in the habit of doing all these arraignments, and they're going to have to all of a sudden change gears and not be able to do them. There will be some inconvenience for us, because there will be those cases that a person needs to see a judge because they're not from the area, or the difficulties in the circumstance, or what have you, and they may not make the grade as far as that list of offenses that the jail will hold for us.
Like your guy the other day, right?
Lighter.
Assault, resisting, and harassment, you wouldn't,
I think resisting charges are probably going to make the grade. I would hope. It's a local decision made by the sheriff. He gets to determine this list. I would assume that resistings will probably make that list. The woman we had was it last night? I guess it was last night. She got caught shoplifting again in Penfield. We caught her shoplifting here 2 weeks in Dansville. We gave her an appearance ticket on a shoplifting charge. She didn't come to court. So the judge issued an arrest warrant. That will make the grade because she has a history of not making her court date already. So on the other flip side, an arrest warrant for a lesser offense, maybe you've got that person with a disorderly conduct who's just rude and obnoxious and is going to continue on their actions until they get to court, and the violation didn't happen in your presence and you have to get an arrest warrant and you go and pick that person up, that probably won't make the grade. And if we want an arraignment on that, we would have to hold him ourselves. And if you grabbed him at 6:30 in the morning, that's perfect. The half hour you drive to Geneseo, you're there to go and ready to go. On the other hand, for whatever reason, they pick him up on a traffic stop in Corning and call you up in the middle of the night and say, you want to come get this person on your warrant. Well, not only is the inconvenient drive to Corning, which we do that regularly, like for example, last night, but now you've got the inconvenience of an hour down, an hour back, and sit around for 6 or 7 hours waiting for an arraignment time. So we'll figure it out as time goes along. It's probably not going to affect us. The county's going to do it, the sheriff's office is going to do it on a test basis, probably around April for a couple of months. And then probably 6 months after that, depending on working out the bugs on their end, the PDs will start doing it. So we're probably not going to look at it till September or October. So a little bit more effort on our part, a little bit more time on our part. We'll work it out. But like I said, we're probably in better shape than a lot of PDs are because we just do, sadly, our volume of calls. We've gotten away from arraignments for a long time anyways, unless they're absolutely necessary. The good news, I guess, from the court standpoint, is they won't be getting called out anymore in the middle of the night. They will have their court sessions that are scheduled, and they will not be bothered any other time of the day. Because the arraignments will either be done on a designated arraignment night in court, which the public defender will have someone present, or B, they'll be done in Geneseo by whatever revolving judge is doing it, and the local judges will not be called out daytime, nighttime, weekends, holidays, none.
If they want to make a little extra coin, they can sign up and work those.
Yeah, you know, if you were a person that was available, $250 a shot, and I think it's probably going to run on Saturdays and Sundays as well. So you're looking at 365 days a year, 2 sessions. What the heck is that?
$500 a day.
$500 a day to make yourself available. You
Where's
know,
the
and-
road?
Now, is that gonna do away with DA day then, or are we still gonna have that?
DA day will still exist.
Okay,
So
this is just the initial arraignment.
this is just the initial arraignment. Yeah.
Okay.
So once they get arraigned there, then the case will be transferred back here for a regularly scheduled court night to proceed as typical. So.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to figure out, based on how many people we put in the cell, and then then we try not to use the cell any more than we absolutely have to. How many people that we arraign that we don't put in the cell that doesn't have the cell records are really easy. I can go through real quick and reference how many people we put in the cell because they probably all got arraigned. On top of that, I kind of have to come up with an estimate and do some good judgment on how many people did make the sell but still did arraignments. And from that, I can get a hint as to, in the course of a year, approximately how many people we've done arraignments on, because we're only doing the ones we absolutely feel necessary to do. And then from that, I can make a guesstimate as to what cost we may, I know it's not phenomenal, but any cost is annoying. So, I'll keep you updated on that. Other than that, like we talked about just off the cuff there quick, anybody that knows anybody that has a pistol permit that's older than, if the pistol permit is older than 5 years, remind them, push them, show them to get someplace. If they need help with a computer, if they need help filling out the document, if they don't understand, send them in. Any police agency in the county I know will help them out. And we'll help out people here, make sure they get the research done. The risk of not getting the recertification done is potentially you could find your permit revoked, which would then mean you have to give up your handguns. And what a lot of people don't understand is in that SAFE Act, if you get your permit revoked and you lose your handguns, they also take your long guns. So grandpa's shotgun that's gone through 2 or 3 generations could all of a sudden be confiscated because Junior said, I'm not signing up my handgun. And that would be pretty sad. And, for what it's worth, I'm not a fan of
State police.
I'm not a fan of the SAFE Act, but it is what it is, and somebody in Albany will force somebody to set an example. So if you know anybody that needs their permits researched, if the permit's older than 5 years, tell them to get in here, we'll help them out.
I'm sure there'll be people that don't, they're not that up on the internet or anything else and
Yep,
don't even know that they have to do it.
right. So if it happens to be in the newspaper as a reminder, that'd be great.
How long do they have?
End of the month,
Yeah,
last day of
end
the
of-
month, so
Yep.
we're down about the last couple weeks here, and that's it.
Okay.
Put that on the front page.
Yeah.
Say somebody's paper.
I mean, if you're reminded of the fact that, the added risk of not recertifying is not only the loss of the permit and the loss of their pistols, but it's the loss of any long guns as well.
Yeah. Like their great grandpa's rifle.
Yep.
Shotgun, whatever.
They're awfully slow in answering. I've sent mine in 9 months ago.
Make sure you got yours square.
How do you find out?
Got a report on mine that says okay.
I should be able
Thank you very
to, he
much
says he's
for
gonna drop
doing
off his paperwork to me with the information on his paperwork. I should be able to pull it up on the computer and double check
it.
it.
How long ago was it?
And get you a printout.
Oh, I had that done a couple months ago.
That's all I do.
And Judge, I guess the village courts,
Nothing's been or submitted to update their reports, have anything, Megan? No, so I guess that's it. Yeah, move down to budget, finance, and audit, trustee Rittenhouse.
The budget modifications, we have hard copies here. They're in the share folder. You can get in the share folder.
Not right now. I can't right now either. I got it at home, but I can't get it here.
So these things need to be acted on now, though, because we put them off last month, correct?
There's a lot there, we should do them, yeah.
So what I'll do is while I'm going through, Robin, you've had a chance to look at these, right?
I did.
Why don't we send these over, because if you guys couldn't get in,
I looked at them at home, but.
have you guys just look at them real quick, and then we can discuss them after I get through the billings and all that stuff, and we can go over the budget modifications, if that's all right, Mr. Mayor?
That is fine.
All right, we'll start out with special billings, wastewater treatment plant, capital project with composting, Bernard Donigan for professional services, $851.74. Housing rehab grant, Toma Development for grant services, $2798.08. And motion to accept the special billings.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to approve the special billings. Do I have a second? Second from trustee Humphrey. Discussion. Hearing any, trustee Nagel?
yay.
Okay, yay. We'll accept that as an aye. Trustee Zay.
Out there.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey.
Yay.
Oh,
Oh, boy.
gotta be two guys, you know.
Boy, Robin.
I don't know if that's an approval or not, so I'll vote aye.
3-2 yeas and no no's. So, moving on to the bills, under the general, the audited checks, 16608, 16672 through 16679, in the amount of $23,675.93. We audited checks in the amount of $67,780.67. Water, we paid checks 1365 through 1370 in the amount of $365,581.54, and we audited the checks in the amount of $386,487.15. Under sewer, paid checks 1181 through 1186 in the amount of $13,527.52. Audited checks in the amount of $29,520.54. Motion to pay the bills.
Have a motion to pay the general water and sewer fund bills from trustee Rittenhouse. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second from trustee Zay. No competition here. All right. Any discussion?
Yay.
Hey. Trustee Humphrey.
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
And the mayor is an aye.
All
Okay.
right, under ban and bond payments, there are none. MedX billing account payments, Livingston County EMS, $2,925. Livonia EMS, there's none. Patient reimbursement, there is none. MedX invoice 2017-1 in the amount of $1,872. The Village of Dansville payment of $6,150.80. And Dansville ambulance payment of $9,226.21. Motion to pay the, well, there's no ban and bond, but the MedX billing account
Okay,
payments.
we have a motion by trustee Rittenhouse to approve the MedX billing account payments. Second?
Second.
Second from trustee Humphrey. Discussion? Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion carries.
So on there, Mike is looking at the budget modifications, and I'd gone through them, I didn't see any issues with them. Did you see any issues with them? Norm didn't see any issues with them. Mayor, you've looked at them, obviously.
Yep.
Mike, did you have it,
No.
looking through them? So I would make a motion to accept the budget modifications as put forward.
We have a motion from trustee Rittenhouse to approve the budget modifications. A second?
I'll second it.
Second from trustee Nagel. Discussion? Okay. Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
Trustee, Rittenhouse.
Aye.
Trustee Zay.
Aye.
Trustee Nagel.
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Motion carries. Okay. I just had one question, Megan.
Yes.
I thought I saw a bill in there, maybe for the payment on the water plant?
300 and...
Yeah. Is that in here?
On the agenda,
Yeah.
that was approved last month.
Ah,
We approved any ban or bond
Okay.
payments 1 month in advance.
yeah, I understood.
And then again, when we pay the bills.
Okay.
Yep.
That just straightened me out. I wasn't here last month,
That's
so I
okay.
couldn't remember.
We handled her, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. That clarifies that point. I've been straightened out.
We didn't spend any other money. Not like
Okay.
last time you went away.
Clean the house, that's
And usually we do approve that in December because that's always one that we, in the past, didn't have enough money to pay. We always had to borrow from one of the other funds. Now we've finally got money. Not flush, but we're doing okay.
Well, able to pay the bills.
Yes. Got the cash flow. Okay, Public Works update. Water and sewer, trustee Humphrey.
Scott, you wanna go ahead and talk about the water and sewer updates?
Basically, we're still down to those two items we discussed last week.
Okay.
That's, now that we got John's,
Mhm.
I guess that's the last two items, and have her done.
Should have it taken care of.
We just set it up for a public hearing.
Yes, we need to establish a time and a date, and I would say probably the best thing to do is hold it during the department head meeting next month, and that'd give us a week, then we can act on it during the regular meeting.
And that'll give us time for the
the time frame for codification?
Yes,
Okay.
provided we pass it. If not, it'll still give time for codification, but I'm assuming it will pass. Anybody have any problems with setting up the, so that would be February 14th? With the,
Second one, oh, I'm in July, jeepers, let me get the right month.
the year's going fast already, but not that fast. That would put the public hearing on the 14th and the vote on the 20th.
6 o'clock for the public.
Yes.
The regular meeting.
Mm-hmm. If somebody wants to change that and put it later or earlier, probably not earlier.
To make sure if it goes in there that it says water and sewer laws, and doesn't say anything about water and sewer rates.
Rates.
Go through this again, I mean, what exactly is this for now, is public hearing?
The public hearing is to approve the water and sewer laws,
Okay,
the ones that we've been revamping now for the last umpteen months.
okay.
Some of those were pretty antiquated laws
Mhm.
for the press there.
And those are
Pretty
gonna be set
antiquated
up
laws
for
and rules.
next month, right?
Yeah.
They'll be set up for next month. We'll hear them on the 14th and vote on them on the 20th.
Okay.
And then that will give us roughly about a week and a half before they have to be sent into general code to be codified with everything else.
Okay. So our next meeting then
Yep.
will be voted on then.
Yep. Again, this is not the rates. This has got nothing to do with the rates.
Right.
We want to make sure people understand that.
What is, the,
Yep, nothing to do with the
I
rates.
guess
Put that in
what's
bold.
really, what is water and sewer laws? What are we talking about, water and sewer laws?
Those are laws, how you pay, how you operate the system, whole 9 yards.
Homeowners that want it, like new construction,
Yep.
material, not necessarily material. Yeah, it is material and
Mhm.
the specifications and who has to approve it before it gets online with the homeowner in the village.
Is for residential people?
Residential, major construction, whole 9 yards.
It's all the guidelines for.
Okay.
We already have those laws, but they're antiquated or missing stuff, so all we're doing is updating them.
That's, all right. If they don't understand that, I'll ask.
No,
them.
it's-
Better to ask that question.
Okay, any other questions on that? Concerns?
You're having your public hearing on your department head meeting, or?
That'll be on Tuesday, the second Wednesday, excuse me.
Oh, okay.
The third Tuesday, we'll vote on it.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's.
It'll be our sweetheart present to the town, huh, for village.
Switches on my call that day.
So, but again, this is just how we operate and how we expect contractors and property owners and everything to, take care of their systems.
Okay.
Okay, with that, so, next item is the reservoir land switch. Everybody get a chance to go up and, want to go and take a look at any,
Make it, but
I looked at it on the map, I didn't get up there.
Pretty much, I've seen it. When I was up there with Bob and so I was.
there's still a few steps we'll have to go through, but we can vote either, if we go forward with it. There'll be some other legal things that'll have to be done. Didn't Hubie say that he'd go ahead with he'd be paying the surveyor and everything like that?
We just have to pay John just
To do our,
File it.
yep.
Why don't we just go ahead and take care of that tonight and have it done
Yep.
with?
Well, okay, do I have a motion then to approve the land switch at the reservoir? For the members of the public, what this is, we had one of the property owners up around the reservoir, this is the one up on Reservoir Road in the town of Wayland, approaches about straightening out some of the lines and things of the property lines. We had property lines that were going right into the water and everything like that. They just didn't make any sense. And what will happen is this will straighten it all out, make it a little more sensible. Gives him a little more flexibility with the use of his land. And
Not so much him right now, but if he ever sells the land,
Yeah.
then there could be an issue with it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, our concern was, one of our concerns has been the fact that, with the line going right into the water, somebody could build a house right on the,
Beachfront property.
beachfront property, exactly.
Oh,
Not that
boy.
they could go on the water, but they would still have access to it.
They would be on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they had a right to swim in it and do whatever,
Yeah.
and whatever they own.
Yeah,
And actually you own the land underneath, but not the water, so they actually have.
they can walk
actually
on
enter
it.
onto it. Well, they can enter onto it through theirs, and then technically they wouldn't be trespassing because they'd be on water, not on the property. I mean, you think about it, it creates all sorts of problems.
Yeah, so this
And
will
how
straighten.
did that,
gonna
how
clean
did
that
that
up.
happen, where
No,
this
these
got
are both.
mixed up, where somebody could own property on the water?
Just the way it was laid out.
Yeah, whoever surveyed it back in the day,
Oh,
either they weren't thinking about it or they, really don't know. It's just it is, we gotta fix it.
Handshake, survey guy.
oh.
If you enter onto that
Down to
through your
Let's
property,
get down here.
you can't tell the guy to get off. Even if he's out on, anywhere's on that water.
Oh.
Okay, so I have a motion then to approve the switch.
I'll second.
Who did the first?
No, I just said let's go ahead and do it.
I'll make a motion that we do it.
Okay, we got the second from trustee Humphrey, and we got the initial motion by trustee Zay. Any further discussion? Okay, trustee Nagel,
Aye.
trustee Zay,
Aye.
trustee Rittenhouse,
Aye.
trustee Humphrey,
Aye.
and the mayor's an aye. Okay, so I guess we'll get the ball in motion on that one. Or-
What else we don't have to
yeah.
talk about?
Okay.
Get done with.
And did everybody get a copy of, or see the, the letter from Karen? It was put out back in May, I think, isn't that on there? Or did
I
I,
remember reading it back then.
yeah, about some of the issues with the software and everything. She says she's still having most of those.
Yeah, let me pull it up. I can read it if you want to refresh everybody's memory, because I know everyone's having issues with their tablets.
Tablets in my memory.
This is the billing
Tablets in
issue,
their memory.
right?
Yours is working great too, I see.
Well, mine's working great,
My new one is.
as soon as it puts it
I
up.
want the kids' iPad.
Come on.
Set it up.
This was working good, it's just I think the internet's funny or something, right?
Mine not working.
What's
It was working, but now it's.
I brought in my, got an iPad from one of the kids and that's why I put it on in the car. It's sitting right on top of my bag in the car. Works great too. I'm telling you, it's amazing when you put it on a.
Mine's doing everything
It's
except
working
open.
At home, I just think the internet
Right,
here
mine's
is.
just not opening. I don't know if it's
Ditto.
if it's this or if it's the internet. I don't
Needs the
know.
internet.
Went downstairs this afternoon.
Mine works at home. Fine, I was good.
Budget. Well, in a nutshell, she's had a number of issues with the billing. I'm just trying to remember them off the top of my head. I can't remember the individual ones, but she's frequently talked to Williamson Law about that and doesn't seem to be getting anywhere with it. I'm not 100% sure what she wants us to do other than what I would normally do anyway, and that's probably call Williamson Law and say we need to get this stuff corrected. So just that you're aware of it, I can go ahead and do that. Probably just, I mean, doesn't require a motion or anything like that
Do
anyway.
we have like a contract with them?
I'd have to see what exactly we've got with them. We, certainly they're the same people that do our accounting software, so. You remember, did we have a contract with them? Just specified everything? Was
Well,
it
we
just,
have our annual agreement. that gives us the support. They did, I believe they kind of created our billing for our needs, didn't they? Anyone else that uses their billing uses something a little bit different.
Yeah, it's sort of customized to our needs.
Yeah, it was customized.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get in there and see if there was anything that needed board approval. Do you remember, Scott?
Thought I had a room there.
Maybe, I don't know what, gotta check the system and find out why it's so slow tonight.
The last in January.
Mine hasn't come up on my computer, I've been looking at that stuff all day long.
It won't come up on your computer?
Mm-mm. It won't open up, I can get to the group share and everything, but it doesn't come up.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
You just give them a call, Pete.
yeah,
That would be good enough
Yeah.
for now.
do that. I'll sit down with her tomorrow and,
Karen,
well, I'll get her letter out and then I'll sit down with her and get all the real particulars. She's told me a couple of times what was going on, so. Okay. Yeah, I guess that leads
There
us.
was the other letter from Karen too?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was the one for the billing with the vice swingers. I think that's down below on there.
I do have a copy of that.
I had that one too if you need it.
Well, I didn't put that on here either, so. But I know she gave it to me, so. Why don't we just go right now, then we'll put that down for later and we'll hit the streets with trustee Zay.
In the streets,
Hit the streets.
bring a plow, shovel.
Scott?
Did you find it, Mike? Did you find it?
I just have the letter with
Where are the
five
streets?
minutes. But I
Moving
can't
on.
get the other one to pull up.
Streets.
Well, let me say this about that. I got a number of compliments as far as the streets went for the snowstorm.
We had a
Yes.
few, we had a few mishaps, so
Yeah.
the churches over here didn't get done, I'm not happy with that.
Mhm.
And then they've been doing the Girl Scouts right along, I don't know why somebody didn't wheel through. She called me last night, the time I got the message they had already left, I went over and somebody had already plowed it.
Somebody was there today, cleaned it out.
I went through today, but it was already clean, somebody stopped, they did a nice job plowing it too, whoever did it last night.
hire them.
Hire them, yeah, they did a
Bring 'em
great
in.
job. So, I don't know who did it, but they did
Well, the
it.
only thing I saw last night was, and that was around 8:30, was the sidewalk had been shoveled out to the street.
Yeah, no, it was all plowed when I got down there.
Huh,
Somebody did it right after that then.
because Mike Cato actually did the shoveling.
Yeah, that's what my message said, that Mike was shoveling.
Mhm. But, given the amount of snow we had, there wasn't a lot of room along the sides of the road there for people to park.
No, it definitely should have been.
Well, people don't really have a reason to complain, because it's a lot, most people understand, there's a lot of work keeping the streets cleaned up, and if one little thing gets messed up,
I'd say it really wasn't so much a complaint, it was just, they couldn't take care of
Do a little
it.
for yourself, and that's the way I feel about it, help out the people.
There are little things compared to everything that got done. So, it was good to see the guys out there Friday night salting and everything, and then Saturday going full bore on it. So what, Saturday night, you had everybody out there to clean up Main Street?
We had to hire 2 trucks to come in and clean it. 2
That's
times.
okay.
John Wheeler.
Yeah.
And one of our trucks, I mean, actually 3 trucks. I think they said they hauled over 70 loads off of Main Street.
A lot of snow.
That was the last
But
snow.
it was a lot of snow, there's a lot of snow up there. I hope it doesn't all melt real
There's
fast.
a lot down in the park now.
Yeah, we gotta push something nice big pile now. That's our snow farm. That's Pete's snow farm. You don't like the snow farm. Anyhow, they came today and bored, or core bored, a couple holes in the bridge. Didn't go so well. It all crumbled.
I saw the cones there when I went home.
So
So,
they're gonna send one sample in. You can tell that it was like a homemade mix from years and years ago. It's got a big aggregate in it.
mhm.
But
So we need to start looking at the whole bridge, culvert, whatever.
You know,
I mean, that's
how long
how it
will it last? Might last 10, 15 years, I don't know. We'll see what they say, what their recommendations, but what I saw today wasn't good. I mean,
Yeah.
they couldn't even core and get a whole core out, it just came out,
crumbled.
little chunks about that big. And there's what, 8 inches of blacktop on top of that.
That's probably what's holding it all together.
Don't touch it.
That and a bunch of wire.
And then last week, the creek flooded over again, right down in the normal spot, Lake
Mhm.
Street.
Well, at least it wasn't in the houses.
No, it didn't flood that bad. We got there in the morning, got the ice out. Well, hopefully, it's all iced up again.
I was gonna say, if this all melts this weekend, because the temperatures are gonna be up there, you're gonna have the same problem
Well,
again.
if it goes slow, hopefully, and we
Yeah, as long
don't
as
get
it'll be high
rain,
at 45 both days.
that'll help. And if it's a slow melt, we probably should, hopefully we won't have a problem. But
Right.
that one section's gotta be fixed. We just gotta, that whole deal with Bucky's house,
Mhm.
we never got the easement, which is sad, but maybe we're just gonna have to fix what we can fix out front for now, worry about the rest later. At least get that choke spot out of there.
It was funny because I drove around because I'd heard that it had flooded over, and it had receded down. It was flowing pretty good. I see the Mini was sitting there, and you look at that, and the water's still about halfway up in that channel. And then I drive up around, and I see up Park Ave, and water's just trickling down through there, and it's like, yeah, it just needs to be redone. That whole channel's too narrow.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5 spots that need to be addressed soon, you know, especially that one.
Mhm.
The village
That's
has
the
been fighting
problem.
that for 20 years,
Yeah.
or longer than that probably.
Longer than that, since we were kids.
Mhm.
I mean,
That's a long time ago.
Be quiet over there.
you're older than me there, Norman. They just throw it out there, but I'm the young buck. I like it that way.
Okay.
So that's the update on that.
Buck over there.
We did have one mishap plowing. Nick hit my truck and back into a telephone pole. When I didn't think it was that bad till I tried to open my tailgate today. The bumper actually went into the rear quarter, pushed the rear quarter in a little bit, which jammed the tailgate, so I can't open that. But my question to you guys, and I don't know, I didn't get a chance to go to see anybody today, but I mean, if it's $1,000 to fix it or whatever, I think we should just fix it, not turn it into the insurance company. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but you start turning in all these small claims and it just jack the rates up on you. That's the way I feel.
Can they get the rates any
I don't know
higher?
what
They
our
already
deductible is.
Can they get the
Never
rates any
had to
higher?
really
They
use
already
it.
got it.
Well, I would say find out what it's gonna cost and then
Yeah, bring it to the next meeting.
bring it next meeting.
Truck's still functional, right?
Oh, yeah.
Get a price on that and see what it's gonna cost to fix it.
It's like the tailgate on my truck that time I backed it into out here. It cost me about $700-800.
Well, if it didn't get the quarter, it wouldn't have been any big deal, like I say. Let's put the tailgate down. It wouldn't open. So, and you know, when it's snowing and blowing, he was actually trying to help an old guy out down on Maury Ave, it was all snowed in. I don't know how it is, back up, bang. Not saying there's no excuse for it, but
It happens.
it happens. That's all that happened.
Unless you don't make a habit out of it.
Yeah. So, we'll get a price on it, and like I say, nothing's gotta be done today or tomorrow. Let's see, other than that, in the streets. That's about it.
I just had a couple of questions, and that was, did we ever check, I know that I asked a little while ago, but did the softball lights and the football lights and all that, did they get paid this year?
So I have all of the invoices gathered. The last one that I was waiting on, because of how far behind they bill, was the one in here.
Okay.
So those are almost ready to go out. I have all of the copies.
Because usually they're in paying ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, like, this year they didn't really beat the door down on that thing, and
They didn't, but it had changed hands. So I think last year they paid just once also. I can double check, but before that, yeah, we were getting payments throughout.
okay. So that bill goes out, I guess I'll ask you next month, see if it was paid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, that and then also the football.
Football has their portion of the lights too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so all the copies are ready to go out, I just have to plug them into
Okay,
my invoice.
all right, I just was thinking
Yeah.
about that, because,
Yeah, there was just one of them, and I was just kind of doing them together. It was like a task I was doing together, and one of them is in this month's bills that I was
Yeah.
just waiting on, so I grabbed
I
that
seen it.
copy the other day. Yep.
Norm?
Scott,
Definitely silence.
I'm gonna guess we have something still here under excavator purchase and 10-wheeler dump purchase intermunicipal agreement.
The municipal agreement.
did we ever talk to anyone?
I have talked to Denny. They are receptive of a intermunicipal agreement. To put one together and bring it to them and they'll take a look at it.
Did you talk to them about just wanting to use the 10-wheeler for the
For brush pickup.
brush pickup?
Mhm.
Or in-
And anything else for that matter,
if
if,
there's an emergency?
yeah,
Or
if
do you need it?
but we need to specify what we want, and of course, they like to have times as much as
That's
possible.
right.
So-
Information I picked up is, they need a schedule, more
Yep.
of a schedule to go by than anything else. Like the mayor said, they like to have times when they're gonna have to give this truck up to let us use it.
Yeah,
Because they might get a big county job the night before Scott calls and says we need them.
well, we wouldn't, when it comes down to brush pickup, that should be pretty easy, because we know exactly when those are. And so even if you get that truck for like 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we know we should be able to put our hand on 3 days when brush pickup is, because it doesn't, I mean, it goes out, it's,
If something doesn't break down in the village, is one thing there. Yeah, you're right there. On the calendar, it should be 3 days, we need your truck 3 days, agreement of that. Now, if something breaks down in the village or something like that, and we can't use it in 3 days.
well, then we
That's where everything goes wrong, that's the way I'm taking it, you know, because things don't follow suit.
No, we put out the fires as they come along.
Mhm. Can't plan for everything, you just gotta deal with it when it happens.
So if we can come up with an agreement to use a calendar kind of thing, when we're gonna need the truck for, but I still am in favor of
Maybe,
getting a 10-wheeler to start with.
I would also look into the possibility of getting something for snow emergencies. See if we can arrange something for that. Do they do much work for the county during snow season?
they probably plow some of the county roads, whatever's in the township. I don't know, I know like,
I don't believe so.
they don't, because I know a lot of the other, the bigger towns will.
Yeah.
The county doesn't plow at all anymore. The county doesn't plow any of the roads, like Stagecoach Road, that's handled by the township and they're paid by the county.
The only problem you have is, are we gonna pay them hourly? Is that what they want?
Well, you'd pay their rate probably for their manpower. We get the trucks, I would think, for free. But that's something we have to put out in the intermunicipal agreement. You know, what we'll pay for and what we won't. See if they'll buy it. What, you know, the terms of it. I'll have to get a copy of I think NICOM has some, you know, generic type intermunicipal agreements. We can use that as to start with and put in there what we need or think we'll need.
Yeah, and if we can get them to lock into them days, at least that's a good start.
Lock into it, and that's the big thing right there.
Yeah, you know, you don't want to throw, village people pay on those vehicles too.
That's right.
You gotta lock into it.
We're not asking for a lot. I mean, you're asking for brush pickups how many times a year?
Well, 6. Well, we don't use them.
But
6 times.
oh no, I still,
Oh, 7.
my opinion is, it wouldn't hurt us to have our own.
So you get 5 times
There's
3 is
5.
15 days you're asking for.
5 big brush pickups. I mean, you got April, May, June, then August and October. So you know, what's on maybe April, May, June, August, October. So there's 5 big ones, and the other one's what, February, December,
Which is,
Basically nothing.
nothing.
yeah. Mostly,
Yeah, I'm not going out
mostly
there buying
Christmas
euros.
trees in February. But you get those anyway, you pick them up as they become available, so that's an easy one. Okay, well, I'll put something together and we'll run it all by y'all, and then we can submit it hopefully before next month's town board meeting. But they'll have it.
Good.
Okay, that's the 10-wheeler now.
$7 for everything.
That's where we're standing at this, that's what we're talking about at this moment now, but
It's all about money.
now the other one, 800-pound gorilla in the office. Okay, excavator.
I just think we should hold off on it for now.
You were digging up numbers or something, right? Cause then what
We did, we sat down with the cabinet, with Danny and Blake.
The one that we had's gone, right?
I think so, I'm not sure now.
But that's what he was saying that day, it was gone. Which left us, him going to look for something different or looking at a new machine. The new machine was, they were still gonna give you the 30-some thousand off the FEMA money towards it. They still wanna say you were down, you're still over 200,000, 217.
Yeah.
And
Sounds like a hot potato.
Well, it's like you just got done talking, you know, that bridge is all falling apart, and how many more are gonna fall apart, and all those are things that we're gonna need this thing for down the road, and
We need the money to pay for it, 'cause I'm not
I
in favor of
understand.
going into debt for anything. It's like we just got done talking about the fire trucks and whatnot.
the hard part is there's two sides of the coin.
Right.
And I 100% agree with both sides of the coin of the reasons why you get it, and then there's reasons why you wouldn't get it. And then the reasons why you get it is well, you're going to be able to apply some of your FEMA money towards it to bring the price down and make it into something that would be more affordable. You have to have it if we're going to rework that creek. These bridge projects that we're going to have to do. I mean, if they go to do a core bore on Seward Street and they can't even really do it because it's just crumbling apart, there's no doubt that's got to be changed. And then you look at it on the other side of a lot of the projects that we want to do. Like, let's say right now we have the blocks that are paid for down there to do the bridge between Prine and William. Them blocks, they're not all in, obviously, right, Scott? Are they still?
They're paid for them.
They're paid for. That's got to be done. That now just comes down to having the machine and the time to put them in. Up on Seward Street, again, what the time to put them in, whatever. Outside of that, I mean, in the next year, that's where our money's going to probably go. Seward Street's going to take up whatever extra money you got in the budget. That's where it's going to go. So there's no other projects that we're going to be able to do with it other than that Seward Street Bridge.
you got a point there.
Because it's going to, and then let's just say this, if that bridge is bad and the next one's bad on Seward Street, that's where your following year's money's going to end up coming from. But again, to do the next set, we're going to need an excavator. So again, you can sell yourself both ways. But I know we talked about, there was a list, and on the list, some things that we could do right away was, down there and scrape the dirt off from the field across from the school, because, if Matthews was gonna be, well, I don't think they're going forward with the building, so that project's gone. We don't need an excavator for that. You look at some of our other ones, where's the, again, I mean, I'm all for it if we've got the money to do the project, but if we can't do the projects, then what's the sense of having the excavator sitting there? Because Lord knows, if we sit here right now and say, okay, look, we're gonna do the we're gonna put the bridge in May and June. We need an excavator for May and June. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I wouldn't think that bridge is gonna take you. How long would that bridge take you to do?
Seward Street Bridge?
Yeah.
I have no idea, Danny. That's a lot of work there, do that bridge.
Versus contract and all the work done. It's another avenue.
Hey, someone else can speak up anytime you want. I'm just trying to. It's there, but the one that we had is not there anymore. Now you're looking at a new one. Again, they'll give you the money still that we've applied off a different machine.
Well, let's just say we need it for 2 months, whatever projects we're doing. Doesn't make any difference what they are, just we need it for 2 months. That's what, $1,300 or $13,000 if we rent it,
Yep.
lease it. That's pretty much about all you're gonna get done this year, in 1 year. If you got, particularly if you got a project like that, because it's gonna be a substantial project, that and putting in those blocks downstream a little bit. You know, I don't see very many projects this summer.
No, I
You know, obviously you're gonna have the surprise, but then again, depending on what that is, it can be approached in a way that it's efficient as well as far as leasing goes. So you can argue it either way.
And if you got to the point where we don't have a lot of use for it anymore, you know, and the hours are so down on it somewhat, we can get a pretty good, we can get it sold, we could probably sell it.
No, you can sell it. That was the whole key. The problem is to have the money to rent it. We don't have it in the budget, so somehow, you know,
No, maybe we'll have to put it in there.
we were fortunate to be
If we have the money to buy it, then we must have the money to rent it.
Right.
Well, again, you're gonna buy it and then you're gonna resell it, so, no, you know, there's a big difference there. You don't plan on keeping it, but
But all those projects that you listed out for that
I'm not against.
are not gonna get done in 1 year or even 2 years.
I agree 100%, 100%. The only thing is with owning it, when it's sitting there and you're not using it, I can live with that. But when it's sitting there and we're doing brush pickup and whatever else, and the ching ching, ching ching, just like it sat this summer. Luckily, we weren't paying for it, but, I mean, we were.
And we gotta somehow plan around that.
Yeah, well, that's the hard part. But
That would be my,
I'm not against
Thoughts
not
on it?
buying it at all, especially after we just spent $400,000 for a fire truck. But I like to go back to the 10-wheeler, because an intermunicipal agreement with the town is not gonna solve my needs for a truck. I think we scrapped the excavator, I think that's pretty well decided.
well, no, you already mentioned that you'd scrap that truck. When we sat in this room with all the department heads, talked about the budget, you said that truck could hold off a year. Now all of a sudden it's back in the, on the table again. I don't understand that.
But I would scrap the truck if what, Pete?
You said you were gonna scrap the truck for another year when we were talking budget here with
My
all the other.
six-wheel dump truck that I need to replace, I said I would scrap for another year.
How many trucks do you need?
I need a 10-wheeler, I need a 6-wheeler. I'm down to 2 trucks, like right now, one's sitting in the shop.
I don't think that was the way that came across in that meeting.
That's broke down. I'm gonna be hiring trucks to move snow. I mean, that's what I gotta do.
Well, the intermunicipal agreement should have, hopefully take care of that. Like Dan said, we're paying for those trucks ourselves anyway. They ought to be doing some work in the town, in the village. They got, what, 4 trucks? One of them's not so great, I guess, but they got 4 trucks. How many people they got to operate all those?
Well, like right now,
We
like,
just take the old one, we'd probably be in pretty good shape.
3 of them are set up to plow snow, so, you know, to
Yeah.
get those guys to come out and do what we need to do, like Saturday night move snow, you're not gonna be able to get them, because they don't have the trucks to do that with. They're all outfitted to plow and salt.
Mhm.
You know, they don't have just trucks sitting there that we can use for that. I think they have 1 truck, 1 10-wheeler for that, the old one that they have. But there's just so many other things, you know, like hauling the compost and doing the sidewalks. I mean, there's no way I can get Jimmy to do all that. It's just impossible. So the truck, to me, is very important. The 10-wheeler, or even another 6-wheeler, either way. Yes, I said I'd put off the one in the general budget, because I said we'd buy the 10-wheeler out of the sewer side, and then leave the general alone to pay for the fire truck, and push that 6-wheel
I
off.
don't see how you end up buying it out of the sewer side. It's got nothing to do with the sewer.
Sure does, we gotta haul all that stuff out of there, gotta come out of there. We should've put it in the
Out of,
budget.
what stuff out of where?
All the compost that we haul out of there.
Yeah, but that's minor compared to all this other stuff you're talking about. That's general fund stuff.
There's a lot that we do for the sewer side with the general fund equipment. Sewer doesn't have anything, equipment-wise. But we can rent like we've always done. Keep renting, that's not a problem either.
What's 10-wheeler run? How much was that?
170, they're both 170.
6 and a 10?
The single plow truck is 170 and the 10-wheeler is 170. Same money. Like you say, I had 4 trucks when I came here, we're down to 2. I got one sitting in the shop right now, this needs a cooling module, I don't even know where we're gonna get it. And so I got 1 truck right now.
We definitely have to have trucks. I mean, point blank, we have to have trucks in the village. I mean, we can't get work done without some trucks. That's not even, I mean, whether we rent a excavator or not, comes back to a truck, we gotta have some trucks. And Scott's right, had 4 trucks before and now there's down to 1.5.
What's the life expectancy on one of those guys, probably?
20, 25 years.
25 years probably.
When's the one that you have now that's gonna be paid for, when's that get paid off?
It's paid off.
In this budget year it paid off?
Yeah.
And what was the budget line for the year for that?
34, I think. 33.
So if we left that budget line there, can we buy a truck in that budget line?
You mean finance one?
Yeah,
What line?
the truck. There was the, whatever paid for, I don't know, I mean, someone had to see what it
6-wheel
is.
dump it said on it, Megan, I think it was 30,
General?
34,000.
What fund?
In general.
General.
So I guess the question now is the 10-wheel or the 6-wheel more important?
I don't know, a dump's a dump. I'll take either one.
You're saying they're both the same price.
No, but they're different. One's gonna only just be to haul, the other one could be, put the plow on it and use the plow around town, but it just can't haul as much. So when you're doing the brush pickup and all that, it's less trips back and forth to the dump if you're hauling compost with it. I mean, and I'm not against the fact that water and sewer shouldn't pay something for a truck, but I don't think it can be saddled in the back of the sewer side.
I think for the meetings
Or
over
the
with,
ones.
we're gonna be discussing pickups too, and I think these pickup trucks should be heavy enough to do plowing with.
We do plow with the trucks we have now, even
You
3/4
know, other
tons.
than using this for 6-wheelers for a plow truck.
The
It's harder
installment
to get
purchase, is
around
that what we're
with.
looking for?
Yeah.
31.8.
You have 31.8. So no matter what, I mean, you're probably gonna be able to fit something in, if you kept that budget line there. It doesn't help us by removing it, but it's not like you're adding to it. And trucks are liquid, they're in and out. And they definitely, some of them old ones have definitely lived their life.
And you got a plan to replace them, you know? It's
Yep. Probably
It's like-
shouldn't have waited this long.
Just like
and-
running equipment in the ground, then you're stuck with all of them and you need it all at once.
Well, that's what they did to the chief a while back with all the cars.
Uh,
And that's why we started replacing cars faster than we wanted to, but what are you gonna do when, I mean,
When they aren't working.
when the derby's calling and them cars aren't even worthy?
Can't even get them to the starting line.
So, I mean, in the end, we need a truck, but my personal opinion is, I mean, if they're both the same price, I think the 10-wheeler is something we don't have, where right now, even if,
I agree.
we would definitely be able to take some slack off from the 6-wheelers, who may be getting a little older, with a 10-wheeler.
Well, it's just like hauling the snow. You know, they were out today with a 6-wheeler. I mean,
It's a lot of work.
It takes forever. You know, there's a guy sitting there with a loader waiting. for the truck
back
to
and
come.
forth.
You know, I mean, there are a few projects we still gotta do. And there's always the things like, look this year where we got the topsoil from Deer Pond. Things pop up where you need a truck and,
We're talking about replacing trucks here now instead of, we're not adding to it, we're replacing trucks with a 10-wheeler.
I think
Or-
We're replacing two pieces of junk that
Yeah,
don't run anymore.
That's right, yeah.
So it's not like we're adding to
We're
it.
not adding anything to it. You know, I guess it is to make a decision whether.
I think we should still, you know, as far as the truck, go with the intermunicipal agreement, see what they got to bring up, and then we can go from there.
I think we need them both, to be honest with you. We definitely need the intermunicipal. I 100% agree with that. Because quite frankly, I can use 2 10-wheelers picking up brush. Absolutely. So I get one from the town and we have one, that's perfect. Because again, we do it with a 6-wheeler and it takes forever.
Yeah, I could do them both.
Oh,
Yeah, because you're,
just like moving snow. We need
because
2
suddenly the
trucks.
town's not available, then you're stuck,
And it's gonna
you know, and it's gonna happen because they're gonna have projects and
Oh yeah, they're gonna have stuff to
they're gonna
do
be hiring
too.
out to the county and.
If we can build enough money in the budget to, you know, like I said, we spent $37,000 in trucking. If we can build enough in the budget, I don't see where it's gonna come from, you know.
So if you build 37,000 in there, and there's already a line item from this year that, for 31,000, you know, really 32, 31.8, so you're 32,000, 37,000, you're at, you know, $69,000 right there.
Didn't we spend in that current budget, didn't we remove that to balance the budget?
Yep.
So it's not in there for next year,
It's not
right now. So you gotta come up with that someplace else. Not to be the downer, but.
But we haven't really.
Why you gotta be the Debbie Downer?
No, because again, if you don't have the money, you can't just pull it off a tree, I don't know.
But that 30 grand you're talking about's in the general, right?
Was in the general,
What?
was. I'm looking what's in this year, I haven't seen what's.
No, we haven't yet, because we haven't gotten it down to where it needs to be yet. See, we're saying what for a 10-wheeler?
170?
170. That would be roughly the same for the 6-wheeler too?
Yep.
Because it comes with a plow blade and such, right?
Plow and salter. Well, not salt, the box is the
Yeah.
salts.
So that the 10-wheeler would be simply just the truck.
Just a truck.
Yeah.
We don't have to have a decision tonight, the only thing we have to decide is it takes 6 to 8 months to get one, that's the problem.
I was gonna ask you, you said before about 6 months, right?
Because I said we can put it in 2 budgets, so we can do it. But again, wait another year.
That just pounds your 2 6-wheelers in the ground for another year.
Yeah, it doesn't accomplish anything either.
No, because then you're gonna be sitting here next year going, well,
Same
that one
conversation.
6-wheeler's gone too, we need the 10-wheeler, but with that 6-wheelers, we just wrecked that. Hauling,
The one we got left, yeah. The one that's operable.
Okay.
he throws his pen down.
Get in somehow. Moving right along, again, remember, we've got contracts and everything we're looking at.
Where's the end?
Pardon?
I said, where's the end? Or is this just the beginning?
You never know. There may not be a surplus to play with on the truck, on the fire truck, that is. That's what we gotta watch for. We wanna cut ourselves short going down the road. But we do need trucks, I don't disagree with that. Well, let's put it this way. If we dump the excavator and we go simply with the truck, you can live with that.
I can live with not doing either, that's up to you guys. Again.
Well, no, this is here to help you do your job, so you tell us what you need.
We can rent, okay? To me, the excavator is a good purchase because it doesn't cost, you know, when I look at what it's gonna cost us, because I know what it's gonna cost us when we're all said and done, it's gonna cost us a lot of money for rent when the machine's sitting there. Well, look, it's a lot of money, I understand, you know, Robin's against it, let the excavator go. I didn't wanna let that extra money go, but it is what it is. But again, if the budget can't handle it, we'll wait and we'll just keep renting, that's all. I mean, but it is gonna be hard with our budget to do those projects because they're just not rent built in there. I don't have $30,000 in my budget for rent. I don't have it. And that's what we have to figure out when we do the projects. So maybe we're gonna have to structure our planning a little different this year to cover that rent. But to do all that you wanna do over there, you know, for me to do it, 4 months minimum to do everything that we wanna do. Now, will we have enough money to do all that? I don't know. You know, I'd be using all my CHIPS money and everything else, so.
Priority will go to the bridge. Have to.
To me, the priority ought to go in that creek.
Well, if you can't drive over the bridge
Oh, we can drive over the bridge.
as it crumbles away.
Couple 2x12s.
That's what they said about that bridge up there in Minnesota, St. Paul, Minneapolis. It came
Little
tumbling
different
down.
style bridge.
You're the only one that drives on the street.
No, sewer gets a lot of traffic. Great almighty.
But seriously, look what it took us to do the wall. I mean, that was probably 2 months screwing around. I'm sorry, but, you know, we're just a little crew and we get pulled off, you know? I say go bid it, bid the bridge out. Let somebody come in and give you a price and then you guys will find out what it costs. Because it'll be expensive.
Well, we know that, that's a given.
And I do hear what you're saying, Excavator, because if we don't buy it, you're losing the trade-in value that we already have with all the rent that they're gonna credit us. You know, you're losing that, it's basically money in your pocket, you know, it's,
I don't know how you felt, Danny. Did you feel more comfortable with the used one than the new one?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely when you start talking that $50,000 less. Yeah, I mean, it's huge.
Because I'm not saying that option's not out. We just said, you guys have to decide. I don't care, one way or the other. I really don't. I'm
Well, it matters, so you can get your work done.
Well-
You know, that's the problem.
The new one.
No, what matters to me, guys, is when it's sitting over there and you guys say, hey, why isn't it moving? Well, because we gotta do all this other stuff, and that's my problem. Because I know at the end of the day, I could keep that machine a couple years, do everything I wanna do, and sell it.
Sell it.
And we're only gonna have 30 or 40 grand invested in it. And we've had it for every day out of 2 years.
It's like
That's how I look at
It's
it.
like going
Because
in
that's,
2 years for $40,000.
exactly. So I'm owning it for 20 grand a year, and then it's bye-bye, it's gone. And I know we can get the money out of it, that's not an issue. But, again, it's dollars.
right, at 20 grand a year, you're talking 3 months of rent, I mean,
That's
that's what you're gonna have it, you're gonna have it all summer, it's kind of May through August probably, trying to get your stuff done. Because we know we got big projects on the list.
But again, I am not against just renting them as we go, not at all.
This is almost as bad as rigs in the water rate.
Can't believe you just said that.
Well, it's,
I do, I get it, because we have the trade-in right now, I mean, you have the credited money
Yeah.
that we're not gonna have next year. And we're like, no, that's, you know, right, I think that's the way it probably is gonna work.
Oh, no, yeah, we're not gonna.
Right, I mean, that's, money's not,
Well,
It's not
no,
a-
you gotta apply it towards, I'm surprised that they've still actually gonna allow that.
He did. That meeting, he said he was gonna do it there.
But again, that's up to you guys, you just have to make the decision. I'll work with whatever, either way. If you want me to call them and see about a used one, or if you just wanna scrap it, I don't care, I really don't, one way or the other. I know we'll just have to run it and do the best we can and try to get it done as quick as we can. And,
Try not to anymore.
you talk yourself into both sides of it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You can look at it.
It's a
You can bat that
50-50
thing and play
thing.
tennis against yourself all day long. Because you can sell yourself on it, you can sell yourself away from it.
The trucks are more, we need trucks, regardless, we need a truck. Whether it be a 10-wheeler or a 6-wheeler, we need a truck. You know.
I think if you're gonna buy a truck, my only thing is it's the same price by the 10-wheeler
10-wheeler, I love it, yeah.
rather than the 6-wheeler. Because we can do a
That-
lot with.
That definitely, we need the truck. Along with a couple pickup trucks too.
couple.
those we can budget, pickup trucks, they're not, it's hard to swallow, isn't it?
So maybe I throw that in there too.
This is in the budget for next
You were
year.
gonna bring some figures out about what you.
I do have prices on it.
You said you got one in this year's budget, right?
I can buy one, yeah, that's where we're gonna bid one out, we just need to get time to get it to paper. I do, a rough price is pretty much what we talked about, around 34 grand.
What about next year's budget, the one we're working on?
There's one in there in the water side for Bob.
Okay. How many you gotta replace? 4?
Well, hopefully we get a used one for that one of.
I think that subject's come up multiple times. We all agree used, but you can't get a used one without paying an arm and a leg if you buy it through a dealer up here.
I'm talking one that replaced the one that Donnie Hamler drives, that's not a whole lot of truck there. And that's just, we can just have a 2-wheel drive, 3/4 ton truck to do it. We pick up garbage with it and Christmas trees and we don't plow with it or anything.
You need a 3/4 or just a half ton, right?
You probably could go with a half, yeah.
If you're gonna plow it, I mean,
Not the one that Donnie
Well,
drives.
would it have a plow package on it, Scott?
That truck,
Well,
no.
either the other truck that.
The other truck, absolutely.
heavy frame so you can plow with it.
That one I want to get a 1-ton so we can haul the mini around. It's like the other day, right now our trucks are all set up to plow. When I came to work the other day, I had my dually, and I got a call, I was right on the corner over here in Chestnut, the creek's going over, so I went over, looked at the creek, oh yeah, it's flooding. So I went down, hooked on with my own personal truck and hauled it up here. Should I do that? No. But you know how long it's gonna take me to go down and take the salter off our other truck? That's the only problem with excavators, if it's short, we'll just drive across the street, but that was way down the sewer plant. That's too far. It'd take us an hour to get it up here, and we didn't have an hour. We needed to get that ice out of there ASAP so we didn't have to clean up the mess in the street. So, that's the first truck I wanna buy, is that way we can use that also to haul the excavator. So that we get the bids out, get some bids back, and then we can figure out if we wanna go forward with that. And even that can wait till next budget at this point, as far as I'm concerned. Because maybe we're gonna need that money for the fire truck when we're all said and done, out of this year's budget. Especially if winter keeps going like it is. Because, we're doing budget mods out of salt, fuel, this and that, and overtime might not be there to take by the end of the season, who knows? We are very fortunate with our guys that, with their comp time and things, that helps a lot.
I still gotta be putting money from the budget into the comp time though, right? We keep track of that, so.
A lot of the guys use it up though, which is good.
Okay, burn it, that's nice.
Yep.
Not all of them. Not all of it. Megan keeps a detailed counting of all of that.
It's up to the department heads to track the comp time based against their overtime budget. And at the end of the year, that's the dollar amount that they should have left over, at least in their overtime, that falls back into fund balance, which then is, we count as a reserve. And I do that calculation, but these guys have to track their own up until the end of the year. And they do. They've done good at it every year so far.
Want to dig around, find out, we can come up with some money for something for them, for the village, for the pickup trucks, or 10-wheeler, whatever we need.
I have to play with the budget some more. But again, I just gotta remind you, there are 2 contracts out there that we have no idea about, and I'll tell you right now, they're stalling. In my opinion. I've gotten nothing back as far as when they want to start. I was hoping to get started by the end of this month. I'm hearing now that in one case, the negotiator, the spokesperson for the one union is going to be out till March due to some medical thing. And I think the other union wants to wait and see what they get before they go with it. So, I don't want to get into a lot of detail in public, but that throws a big unknown into the budget. Because the budget has to be done by the end of April. And if we don't have a contract with either one by then,
It's on them, hey, this is what we were budgeting.
well, that's true, but you know how that works out.
Yeah, this is what we budgeted.
I'm just throwing that out there. Those are all things that gotta be considered. It's not just a question of, moving money around for our own uses for equipment and projects. It's, your personnel needs, are right up there as well. But anyway, that's just something to think about. Anybody gonna step forward and dare anything? We're just gonna hold off.
I say hold off, and Scott can bring up some numbers on the pickup. And then, well, you've got the numbers on the 10-wheeler already.
Yeah, the numbers on the pickup.
It's already, oh, okay.
What's in the share folder? The 10-wheeler, the other,
I just don't want to put the numbers I have because that's already basically,
I think you put them in there.
well, no, I mean on the pickup. I don't want to publicly say the numbers because it's going to be out for bid. Pretty much have the one number
That's true.
already. He's going to bid the same number again, officially.
Gotta wait for the bids to come in before you can announce them.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess we're waiting till we got some more information on both of those, I guess the excavator and the 10-wheeler / 6-wheeler, whichever one's gonna end up being.
You'd have to figure out where the money is.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right there.
We're tabling it, basically.
The 10-wheeler, I mean, we could probably table that as long as any of them. But we do, now we need the pickup trucks, so. And we, the 3 of them, I guess we need two pickup trucks and a 10-wheeler.
I'd say we got one in the this year's budget, and looking at one for next year, so that would take care of 2 of the 3.
Just trying to figure out how to pay for the 10-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
And the one truck it's not an actual budgeted item, but it's, right?
Which
For
truck?
for this year, we don't actually have a.
No, it's coming out of-
But it's gonna come from multiple funds.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can do one truck this year out of the budget, unless we feel we need that money for fire truck. So let's sit down.
Never mind.
There is no budget.
Okay. Well,
So we decided we're just gonna hold off on it then.
I guess that's what we decided, and that's...
No one made a motion to do anything, so.
You make a motion, doesn't mean it's gonna get a second or even
Right.
pass by the
All you can
sound
do
of
is,
it.
As long as
So
you-
what are we waiting for on that decision? Let's be clear about that, so we
Yeah,
have that
that's what I
information.
wanted to know, too.
Now I see where the money's gonna come from.
Okay.
If it's not in the bar budget for this year, I don't know.
Well, I'll probably have to, I don't know, I'll have to take a look at it.
Dan, what was the 130-some thousand thing you said came to an end or is coming to an end?
they had a 6-wheeler that we wheel dump that we're paying for this year. This
Yeah.
budget was the last year it was paid out of.
Yeah.
It was $31,800, that budget line, but they've already taken that budget line out to try to balance the budget for next year already. So that $31,800 wasn't in the 2018, 2019 budget, but it was in the 2017, 2018.
And that was the plan, Norm, was to basically pay that one off and then get another one and just keep it going. And when that was paid, then just go.
Yeah, the 6-wheel dump was paid this past year.
Right.
But that was,
That's on the installment. The Mini is paid this year, and that's done with. And that's, I think, all we got on the installments.
pretty much paid up and everything.
Everything else is paid up. Well, that doesn't include the fire trucks and street paving and all that under the regular debt service.
Street pavement's paid.
But
for,
we're getting
right?
down on those too, because we got the one fire truck, the street paving. I thought there was something else in there.
Street pavement should be paid for, right?
This is
That
the
was
one from,
From 2007. So that was paid for in
That's,
17.
let's see here. It doesn't have a year with it. Well, the street paving, which started in '07, says April of this year. So it's up with this fiscal year. Likewise with the one fire truck. That's on the principal, I'm assuming it's the same with the interest.
So Fire truck, so you wait, so to try to balance it, you've taken all those other things that we paid off, got rid of those budget lines, and they're still in there, but it's being used for something else.
Let's see.
What what went into the budget that boosted so much this year?
We got a police car, that's not
Mhm.
last year.
And we should have budgeted half last year and build a reserve fund to roll it into.
And then,
Yeah, because you had what, Charlie, you had like 70 grand, yours went up this year for different
we
items.
got bulletproof vests that are in there this year, probably 8,000. That's probably a little low, actually.
Is there any grants on anything like those?
I haven't seen that.
I understand, they were all told that I didn't want to see any increases in the budget.
They didn't listen?
Hmm?
They didn't listen?
Yeah, they did
We did
listen.
listen, we made it
That's
happen.
You
why
just said
we-
you went up 70,000.
Yeah, but they got switched from other lines.
So you're saying the bottom line is not.
We got a, no, there's, yeah, 0 this year increase.
The vests are contractual,
That's contractual.
Yeah.
so that's not an option,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Now, if you want to increase the levy from zip to whatever, we can go up to 2% this year.
I thought there was I have to ask Karen Gale, but I thought there was a grant or something.
Didn't we get
For
ours
vests,
on
and we get
grants?
like half back or something. I thought, I'll have to talk to Aaron about that. Because he does all our bulletproof vest stuff, and it's like a 50% reimbursement or something, I thought.
Let's see if they got something.
Aaron's the one that does all ours. I can talk over you, kind of. Let's see what he says. Because I know he handles all those, he just tells us who's up and,
Oh, who's
Yeah.
expired?
you know.
And the other couple things we need to keep track of this year is, number one, the state is looking at a $2 to $4 billion deficit, which means, we all know that that's all going to get shoved down to the county, which will get shoved that to the taxpayers. You've also got the SALT, the new tax program and everything they put into effect, which caps the SALT, which are your state and local taxes. We don't know how that's going to impact people, especially in this state. So, that's why I said keep things down low.
You don't have it in your budget, and we don't have rent in the budget either.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't have the bridge in the budget.
Then we
We
don't
don't have much of anything in the budget.
really tweaked on somebody, just give us an excavator, I guess. I mean, we don't have the money to buy it, we don't have the money to rent it, but we gotta have it. It's kind of a tricky situation right there.
Well, we could contract the work out, which would cost about twice as
It's
much.
gonna cost a lot of money,
What kind
because
of-
we have gotten pretty good
and
about
we
it.
don't have the money to do that either.
We don't have the money for that either.
What kind of screws aren't we?
I guess it could be like a nice little dead-end street from both directions.
Yeah.
You know, it would really cut the traffic down on Seward if we just take that bridge out.
You probably
Nothing
go,
says you gotta
Three
put it
dead-end
back in, I
streets.
guess. I mean, I get a lot of traffic on my street as it is, but
3 dead-end streets.
I was
Don't
just
you
gonna
think?
say we could close that street for a year until we got the money.
I'm sure that all the residents would really love that.
The ones on Prime Street probably won't care.
the one on Chestnuts won't like it though, because
If they're gonna cut
there's a
your,
lot of traffic on that street
Why do we
anyway.
got that street closed? Because we ran out of money.
Well, we can't actually say that because whether we like it or not, we still do have fund balance. Now, I'm not saying that we should be grabbing onto that because I don't want to. We've gotten this far, you know, and done good. I just throwing some things out there that we need to be
well,
careful.
that's one of the things that Scott was talking about with the excavators. If you use the fund balance, you're using the fund balance, but you didn't waste the fund balance because you can always sell it, get your fund balance back, and go back in the fund balance.
Sometimes
Right. Man, I get it.
Is that what you were saying?
Pretty much.
Borrow from the fund balance, basically.
Is
Don't
what
put
you,
it back.
is what your thought was, and
Take the rent that I had to basically pay the fund balance back, the rent that I had in the budget. You know,
Well, you wait a minute ago, you said you didn't have the rent.
no, I had the rent for maybe a couple months. I don't have the rent for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, you know, I don't have.
and then his thing was, is in 2 years when you sell
So
it,
you put that money
there's your
back in
fund
fund
balance. Wasn't that what we were doing with the dozer too? Wasn't that fund balance at one point, and or we had to buy it, and then
No,
it was
we
like, well, we
purchased
can
it.
sell this at any
We
point?
purchased that.
Purchased it after, well, we were renting it.
Yeah, we-
Same situation.
Pretty much.
Quit renting stuff, and then we won't.
Yeah, it's awful nice when I want to use it, Dean. There it is.
Well, you know, convenience isn't the criteria here
No,
necessarily.
it's not at all. It's the dollars and cents. I mean,
I mean, convenience, we could have a lot more equipment, do a lot more things, but
I just wish there was a way that you could like, we got two minis, and then you go with this big one. If there was a way you could somehow get rid of a mini and utilize that, the other one, you know, for now or whatever, I mean, do we really need all those, or can we get the other one down there if we need it, if there's a problem?
And we put a lot of hours on this year.
No, I
The little
don't.
minis, yeah, 350, yeah, the small one. I don't even know what the big one's got, it's gotta have more
Is the
than
book still getting used?
threw that thing away. Brian says, really, do I gotta do this anymore? I said,
Okay, it doesn't sound like we're going anywhere tonight on any of this stuff.
well, let me do this, let me check with Mr. Hoffman and see if there is another used one out there, and then we'll bring it to the next meeting and you guys can talk about it again. And I don't know if there is at this point. If that's what you're hung up on.
Well, apparently we're hung up on the 10-wheelers too.
No, the 10-wheelers is like, how do you pay for it?
Yeah.
You gotta have one. I'm 100%, we gotta have a 10-wheeler.
Could we say that,
But how do we pay for it? That's our problem.
Well, we're still hung up on it though.
Okay. I mean, when you put it like that, it sounds like we're really hung up on it.
you know, before the next regular meeting, can we try to dig some, use that word, dig some, find a place to get money from to pay for this, you know?
That should grow on trees.
Well, then, if we don't have it, why don't we just admit we don't?
We have already admitted
Just said
that. We pretty much said it already.
Why are we wasting our time on that?
That's
Because
what I
you still
said-
gotta have
That's
this
what I
stuff.
said an hour ago.
Okay.
We'll get back next month. Let's finish that off right here and now. Move on to the next item.
Contracted out.
Oh. I think we've already talked about, well, no, we haven't. We talked about it last
How
week.
about a truck wash?
We don't have a truck.
We don't have a truck to wash.
Thought maybe buy a truck wash and then maybe we'll get the truck.
Okay, just a reminder, tomorrow night I have a committee meeting with that walking tour group. We'll be meeting here in my office to discuss Onsell. We got a representative from Onsell coming down, see what they have to say. That's an audio program that allows people to walk around and use their cell phones for touring. And the other thing is, we've had a substantial amount of gazebo vandalism by the look of it over here.
Nowhere, don't say anything about it yet.
There's, well, there's a couple of, I hate to call them boards because they're not, it's just pieces of the flooring that are out of the center, and I think it's been like that for a while. But there's about 11 spindles that were knocked out or partly knocked out. I'm not sure about some of the others that may be just the old wooden ones that may be rotting. I don't know. Somehow we gotta get a hold of these characters that are doing this kind of stuff. It's just, I'm a little frustrated with it. You try to build something nice and some clown comes along and wants to bust it up.
We're about, which side is the spindles?
Spindles on this side,
I
side
wonder if
facing.
Wonder if it was when all the little kids were up there singing on it on.
I don't
Maybe
think so. I
they're
mean,
kicking
these
it
are,
over?
these are completely out,
Oh.
period. If they're just bent, pardon me?
They kick them.
It was intentionally done. It wasn't any little accident from kids singing up there. Right there in that center piece too, as it faces out onto the audience, you know, right at the end of the, where all the trees were. Can't miss it. Well, I hate to say, keep an eye on it, but keep an eye on it. I don't know what else we can do.
Do you have any surveillance from the churches that go towards the gazebo?
No.
No.
Well, I tell you what, Jasmine, why don't you go on over there and sit each night for us? I'll give you a sleeping bag and you can just sit out there.
Investigative
You know,
No, I'm making light of it, but it is a frustrating thing.
Yeah, because it is a really nice gazebo.
Yeah. On the technology side, I guess we're pretty well getting caught up. We're, say the website is up and running. I've been able to work with it and everything. I think we're finally mastering it, or at least some of it. One thing I did notice, on our calendar, or municipal calendar, are a number of meetings that are on there in duplicate.
I was gonna mention that the last meeting.
Okay.
I just noticed that last week. I mean, the world will fall apart, but it's the same thing. They're just, and the times seem to be different. They'll start at the same time, but they end at a different time, like one, 9:07.
9:07 or
Yeah.
9:17 or something.
9017.
9:07, not or I said.
It's like $1.380. Okay.
How are you?
So, at this point, if somebody has anything else, we'll go into unfinished business. And we're actually already taking care of this one, so that's done. That's the reservoir. We got that up front. We just need to accept the certificate of substantial completion, which I think we sort of did the last time, but did everybody get a copy of that? It's on the, is it in the shared file?
I don't remember.
Didn't we have to vote on that yet as far as the board went? Really, they didn't have to, but we were doing it anyway.
Didn't we do that last? I thought we did that last.
May have, I wasn't here last month.
We
Last-
do
We didn't
need,
do it last month.
we
No,
do
last
need
meeting.
your signature
Yeah.
so that I can send them in.
Mm-hmm.
For both, and I believe that you're already approved to sign off on
Okay.
all of that stuff.
That's
in your
done.
Position.
Okay, and we're done with that one. Moving right down next to the discuss and vote on accepting the community development block grant for rental properties. That's the $500,000 we just got notified in December about.
Motion.
I have a motion by trustee Rittenhouse and a second by trustee Humphrey. Any discussion on that? Okay, trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And then there's an exemption, actually it's an extension of an indefinite extension of the Cold War veterans exemption, tax exemption. They had it, I think, for 8 or 10 years, and now they want to extend it indefinitely.
I'd make a motion to.
Well, is that, I thought, I didn't realize that was for us to make a motion on.
We-
But I'll second
We're
it
gonna
then.
do it,
Yeah.
that's right?
Yep.
Discuss and vote.
Yeah, the board has to vote on that.
Yeah, we got a first and second over here.
Okay, got a first and a second for trustee Humphrey and trustee Rittenhouse. Any discussion? Not hearing any. Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye.
And the mayor's an aye. Thank you. And last but not least is Megan has some more documents that need to be destroyed. I believe those are mostly vouchers. Is that correct?
The ones we were just doing were definitely vouchers.
Mm-hmm.
And
We had a lot of those.
we filled the dumpster and we're not done. Sorry.
How many shredders did
Copy.
we go through?
Are we at the point, I mean, if our budget's kind of blown this year, are we at the point where we should, like, put any sort of a hold on unnecessary expenditures?
That's up to the board if you feel that way. I don't know if we've reached that point yet, but
Well, I know we just had a whole bunch of budget modifications that we're talking, if that keeps going, that there may not be money in those.
certainly some lines are eaten up.
Yes, they're getting very, to that point, and, you know, Scott says if the overtime keeps going and, you know, the weather stays the same, it's probably a good point, good time to say, then we know that we did more paving this year than we had planned, we
Mhm.
kind of, you know, expelled a little more money than we thought. I think right now is a good time to say, okay, then we need to pump the brakes for a while and no unnecessary expenditures.
The brakes are on, trust me.
Huh?
The brakes are on.
that.
Well, I think that the board now just, I think, you know, board,
We had discussed bringing it up tomorrow to discuss it all at the department head meeting.
Thursday?
When we
no
had-
better than right here in this department. head meeting.
The brakes on.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that that's something that we need to do, and if it needs to be in a motion, then I think that we move forward with it.
I think we probably don't need a motion on that as long as everybody understands that. We'll just give them direction. I think 3 of the 4 department heads are here, so I think they got the message. And see, for the most part, they've been
Especially
acting.
if weather stays the way it's gonna, and Scott's already said that the budget modification we did tonight might not, have, they might not have been the greatest spots to bring money from, then there could be other places in rough shape. It's not that we're in rough shape, it's just, it's easier to plan, start putting binders on now than at the end of the year go, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can also discuss on Thursday a little bit more of the budget while we're at it. Try to firm that up as best we can. Okay, but as far as the records destruction,
Yep, we have tax receipts,
mhm,
training books, and catalogs and warranties.
the tax receipts is the one you were concerned about, because they would have some information on there that,
Yep, those will be shredded.
yep, okay.
We have some other stuff that we're still working on from the last one that has to be shredded too, so we'll do that stuff. That's all right, we're doing it right in-house, so.
Okay, so we just need a motion then to authorize the village clerk to destroy this property.
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion from trustee Humphrey, a second?
I'll second it.
Second from trustee Zay. Jumped
The
on
other
the,
side of the room is
jump-
actually awake.
Can get a word in edgewise.
okay, any discussion? Trustee Nagel?
Aye.
Trustee Zay?
Aye.
Trustee Rittenhouse?
Aye.
Trustee Humphrey?
Aye. Good thing.
Yay?
Yay.
And the mayor's an aye. Okay. Do we have anything for the action list? Can't afford anything, so there shouldn't be anything.
No, but do you want, I did get Karen's letter pulled up, and it is for board approval. Do you want me to,
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, read it,
That-
read it. Finally got it up, great.
okay.
Need my glasses?
I mean,
Is this the one on the bike?
Choose from.
Here you go, here,
No,
geez,
it's
there's
okay.
some
I'm okay.
weak
It's
readers.
all right.
This is the one on, for bike swingers, right?
No, so this is the billing issues.
Okay.
So it just states the following are several billing issues which I believe should be addressed. The first is Noise Memorial Hospital, sewer billing only. This account has a credit meter that is applied for the July and October billing only. Besides this deduction for 2 of the 4 billing cycles, the sewer has a lesser base charge than other accounts. I was told by Village Clerk Nancy Wise in 1992 when I was hired that this was in agreement with noise, but I have no paper documentation to support this. The current base rate is $340.67 each quarter. Ordinarily, the sewer is based on the same multiple as the water, which at noise is times 15. Thus, the sewer would be 83 times 15, 1,245 quarterly. I know that was a lot. Just looking for direction on that.
Okay, that's not the one I thought it was.
Well,
Good
would
thing you
that be
found it.
something that would be cleared up with the new water and sewer laws?
It should be.
So as soon as we vote on that and they go into effect, then I think that within a month, then them things will be taken care of, right?
Right. Well, that's, I think.
So I don't think that if we do board action now, it just always supersedes next month, correct?
Be superseded by next month.
Yeah.
Don't even be doing something for nothing.
Yeah. Just my thought.
Her second concern is also in one of the local laws, so we can skip over it. Unless, well, maybe it hasn't been addressed in the new law, so I'll read it just in case. The second concern is also found in local law number 5 of the year 1996, which allows for a sewer rent discount for large laundries or laundromats. Basically, every commercial laundromat that consumes 100,000 gallons or more of water shall receive a 5% discount on its sewer usage fees for that quarter. In 1996, the village had 4 laundries that often qualified. There is now only 1 that usually qualifies. This is another deduction that is done and recorded manually, so not going through the software program. The average deduction is usually $30 or less. Is this a law that the village would like to continue? That's getting updated, right?
It's updated. We
It's
talked about that in
updated?
our committee meetings.
So that will resolve itself. Another sewer charge recorded manually are the sewer pump stations outside the village in the town of North Dansville. Compson Development, owners of the Save-A-Lot Plaza, and Frank Corp DBA Arby's Restaurant. Each pay $370 quarterly for sewer pump station charges and line maintenance. These are the only two that are billed. Need to check with DPW to determine, are there other pump stations outside the village that require billing and or maintenance? Also, can Williamson Law Book integrate these into the billing program? So in the billing software, accounts can be set up for that,
Okay.
just by creating another account number.
That must have been set up way back when they installed that, because they installed that for those guys.
Mhm.
So that was probably an agreement they made way back then for maintenance. So probably should continue.
Do we have others?
We didn't talk about that.
The other pump stations that we have are pretty much ours, and the only other,
I can't think of any.
well, the school bus garage, but that was put in, I think that was part of that whole upgrade that they did. In other words, the plaza asked to have that installed, I believe, back in the day. Other than that, I think the rest of them are all our pump stations that are just been here for a long, long time.
That's probably back when Star Market was down there, probably, no?
Probably.
No, in the conveyor belt, yeah.
I guess if you guys want to rescind it, at this point, I don't know what you do with it.
That would be something that should be included in the fee schedule,
Yeah.
which won't be in the law, but the law will mention fee schedules.
Right.
So that should be included in that. And then as far as adding that to Williamson Law Book, I don't think we really need board action on that.
Mhm.
We could just let her know that that can be done.
That's different than the letter I was thinking about. Good thing we didn't vote on it without seeing it.
There
I know which one
wasn't
you're talking
another
about,
one
because they
once
were-
before.
We talked about it in our meetings, and what that was, it's not really an apartment per se, it's for when his kids come home from college every now and then, for a couple days. 2 or
Oh,
3
you're talking
days.
about bike swingers?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
Well, there was another one that she had from back in May that I thought was the one on Williamson Law problem she was having.
Oh, I don't remember that one, I'm sorry.
But that's certainly not, obviously not the one. It's a good thing you were able to bring it up.
Yeah, there was another.
Mhm.
And then we have Bike Swingers to do next.
So, I think that one pretty well takes care of itself with the new laws.
Okay.
So I guess we might as well go to bike swingers then.
Okay, so if you'd like, I can respond on that.
Mhm.
So then, you all read the stuff on Bike Swingers? Or do you
I
need
have read it.
To pass it around.
Did you understand that?
I had a hard copy, so I don't,
Because I got charged for that. I got charged for
Um,
that. And in addition to their house.
Yep.
I guess the only thing is whether it has any, I don't know if it will have any bearing on your decision. Couple of things. The letter states that it's a living structure. My understanding for the ZBA minutes is that it is not a living structure. And that a statement to that effect had to be made and filed with the county when the barn was built. And it should have, then a copy of that should have went to the code office, but there's not a copy of that there. So there's kind of differences of what it is and it's being said that it is. I don't know. You guys got my research plus Karen's letter, so I don't know if you want me to hand it around so that you can read it again, just to make sure. And, there's a couple of different ways. When I read the law, I interpret it one way, she interprets it another, so we had a conversation about it, agreed to disagree on that. So I just think it's really important that everybody read all of the information, whether it has any bearing on your decision with her question. It may or may not.
Do you have the law with you, Megan? Our laws, you have it on.
She did a verbatim of the law. Do you want to see this?
No, I just wonder if it'd be advantageous to read that for the group so
Yeah.
that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, do you want me to read it first?
No, you want to read it, go ahead.
In reviewing current water and sewer laws under Article 5, paragraph 62.28 application, item C states, "A garage, barn, or similar residential, non-business storage facility receiving water in the same connection as the dwelling unit shall not be considered a separate unit requiring an additional base charge as hereinafter set forth."
But that's emphasizes
So-
the storage.
So that is
Aspect of it.
fine, as long as it is not what is stated in the first paragraph of the letter, that it's a living structure. Then that's fine.
So Mayor, it's at 9 o'clock.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Nago to go beyond 9 o'clock. Have a second, please.
Second.
Second from trustee Rittenhouse. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Continue on. It's actually 9:05. Thank you very much, trustee Nago.
This is a letter from Karen. Is there a letter from the Vice Swingers to say this is, or this is just Karen saying that we owe?
No, that was just Karen, saying that we owe. Swingers have not questioned it.
Right.
So, it's a living structure then. So how do we know what's going on inside the barn?
So
How
what
did this come to Karen?
We found it, we were going through the
When
laws,
we found it going through the sewer, water and sewer laws.
and then she said, oh, I've got a couple of these.
So basically, I was made aware of it because I received a copy of this letter on my desk. And so Karen and I discussed it, and she interprets the law as if it can be a living structure and their money still needs to be refunded. I don't read the law that way. If it was a living structure, they would have the additional base charge. But because they had to apply for variances and whatnot, I grabbed a copy of the ZBA minutes, which states that it will not be used as a living structure. So that's what I would go with, but I was just thinking, I don't know if there's, more conversation there. I'm not sure if it should be charged or not charged, but there were some discrepancies.
Is anybody living in it?
I
We don't know.
At our meeting, we were told that, I believe Karen spoke with Vice Swingers, and it was only when, a couple times a year, for a couple days, when the kids were on break, his siblings or whatever, or his children, and they would stay out there for a couple days until they went back to school. And there wasn't a long-term rentable or a lease agreement with tenants or whatever.
What's the definition of a living structure?
Definition of living
Maybe
structure?
something in there about lodging or overnight guests, or overnight accommodations.
Anyone else have any take
It
on
only
it?
pulled up living system.
Pardon me?
What's your idea on this,
I'm
or?
guessing that's probably what it means.
To me, it shouldn't be a living structure, because it was not, because the ZBA said no.
Right. I wasn't aware of the, I don't think the ZBA at that time, we were aware of that one. I don't remember the ZBA being brought up into that.
Why don't we just ask the Vice Swingers if they're doing it up there, find out.
So, I mean, definitely if it's not a living structure, but
If it can't be, then they can't use it for anything other than storage.
Storage.
And can you sleep on the floor and stuff? I suppose you
and
can.
then it's
but-
just, and if it is a living structure, then the property class is wrong. That's all.
And if it's a living structure, the assessment's probably wrong because it adds living space as compared to storage.
Right, and you see a bulb,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Is there water?
Yes.
Yes, that's what we're talking, that's
Yeah,
what the deal is about.
When the water's on, and what's keeping that from, is there heat in it?
Well, I guess the question is, if it's got water, does it have sewer? Because that'll tell you whether or not they had a bathroom. Or are they using a septic system?
Heat, keep the
It's
water.
outside in the
from
town,
freezing.
so they could have a septic system out there. But I'm guessing it's not, because it's right along our,
No, it's tied in the sewer.
yeah.
I don't know about the garage. I don't know about
Now, we're charging for the sewer as well?
Yeah,
Okay, so they're getting both on that. It's being treated as a,
They're not even questioning it?
No.
they have never questioned it.
I think it's more of a ZBA issue than it is water and sewer. If they shouldn't be in it, then they shouldn't be using it for anything other than storage.
Sounds like a code issue more than anything, it's,
Yeah.
you have to have a certificate of occupancy
Mhm.
to stay in it, I mean, technically. 'Cause I know, like, I went to a Portage Town meeting, and they had a lot of issues with guys putting, like, on the sheds and his hunting camps, and they're like, how often do you have to stay in it for it actually to be an occupied building?
But I don't think
You know,
anybody
it's-
really is sure whether or not anyone does stay in it.
I don't think anybody stays in
I
it permanently.
I don't think
I don't think
anybody
they do.
really knows.
There's not any lights on
I mean,
it.
there's nothing that says you can't have a toilet in your garage or water out there, so if we're billing them, I don't know. That's the only question, we give up the,
Base charge.
you know,
I think it'd be easier just to call them and ask them.
I agree.
See
Right,
what they
just-
say?
Just have it set up as like a party shed, or
I think that's what it is. I think that's what they built it for.
Right, you know.
It's like a bar and.
Probably what it is.
Because they have an
probably.
in-ground pool right there by it.
Mhm.
Probably all their storage goes in there.
Now, let's say maybe talk to them and say, what's the general, it's in the town, but it's a water bill issue more than anything.
you know, if it's family just staying in there on a
I don't know.
sporadic period, I don't know why we should be
Even concerned.
even
I
concerned about it.
thought that was my thing, but.
You gonna ask
Good
anybody else,
whoever.
anybody else that uses their garage for a sleepover or something, does that qualify that as a living space or not? I think it's probably getting down there too much more than we need to know about. Well, we can check on it. Okay. Anything else needs to come before the board? Community comments?
Does the village have its own theory on zombie laws? Because I hear there's like a lot of abandoned properties in the village and things like that. Is there a specific law?
There's not a specific law, not really, no.
No?
But we do address it, we use basically a state law. People have to follow the guidelines on that, and there's requirements by the state law to have those properties inspected by the organization that actually lays claim to it, in other words, the banks,
Oh, yeah, the banks usually own the properties.
that or some mortgage outfit.
Okay.
So we address that as best we can.
Guy down Rochester, so right away we can't find him.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of them are out of state, and those are the ones that are very difficult to deal with.
Oh, yeah, the ones that still own it, but they're just out of state and
Yeah,
not-
California, Colorado, someplace like that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I know last meeting, we were talking about a building on, was it Pine Street? The one where the tree was growing out of the roof?
Oh, Park Ave.
Park Ave.
Oh, Park Ave.
That's been cleaned up.
Yeah. It wasn't growing out, it was just sitting there.
Fell on it.
Fell on it.
Fell on it.
Fell on the roof, yeah.
The house is for sale, I see a for sale sign.
There you go,
We
Jasmine.
grow our trees on the sidewalk,
$27,000, anybody wants it.
How much?
right, Dan?
The sign said $27,000.
Yeah,
Right, Dan?
that's scary right
At
there.
one time, that was a beautiful home.
Yeah?
Oh, really?
Back when Robertson's lived in there, yep.
Okay, if not, I would like to call a very quick executive session.
Can I make
Hmm?
a couple comments?
You may make a couple of comments, yes.
One, just suggestion that they continue to follow through with the village maintaining upkeep on sidewalks with Scott prioritizing the jobs and putting the crew out as the budget, whatever budget is available. Secondly, I like your naval context with this I. I suggest you say aye, sir, or aye, mayor.
You can't even get an eye. Now you wanna go aye.
Well, actually, that is dictated by the state. It's aye and no,
Really?
yes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
It's
Can we start over?
right in your NICOM manual.
No,
Can we start the meeting over?
no.
What's the matter with you?
Mike does good as long as he doesn't go first.
As long as I didn't go yay.
Okay, so I would entertain now, if there are no other questions, to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing the work history of a particular position, employee.
Motion.
Actually, it's not, okay. Got a motion from trustee Rittenhouse and a second from trustee Humphrey. The time is 9:15, and Megan and Scott, I'd like to have you both stay.
Aye.
All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
Aye.
Ha, ha, ha.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Mr. Bond has that idea.
Not going far.